Okay, let me just make sure this is working. Okay, there we go. The live stream is up. So hello everyone, welcome back to the Hurricane HQ, and today we'll be doing a live severe weather and tropical update. And we also have some breaking news. Tropical Storm Larry has officially become a hurricane overnight. So it is currently a Category 1 hurricane in the Atlantic with winds up to 75 miles per hour. So it is a low end Cat 1, but it is a Category 1 and is expected to become a possible major hurricane during the next few days. So before we get to in-depth tropical weather, I'm just going to brief everyone on what's currently happening in the United States right now as of warnings. So we currently have a lot of flooding still occurring in the northeastern U.S. here. I'll actually zoom in over here a little bit. The remnants of Ida actually was impacting this area yesterday, so lots of flooding occurring or continuing to occur in the northeast here. And then in the central or deep south area, you can see we have a lot of heat advisories, especially for Louisiana area, Oklahoma, Texas. There's a lot of heat advisories over there. We also have a flash flood watch for portions of western Texas and southern New Mexico, and a few of those flash flood watches for portions of New Jersey and Delaware over there. It also looks like we have some dense fog advisories, I believe. Yeah, we have some dense fog advisories for portions of Montana and all these areas shaded in gray. They're in a dense fog advisory. And we also have something interesting here, and this is not really what we see often during early September. Or actually, we start to see these kind of things, but we actually have I believe, frost advisory. Yeah, it is a frost advisory for some of these areas of Washington State. I would say northeastern Washington State and northern Idaho. You are in that frost advisory, so you could be seeing some conditions near freezing, actually. So pretty low temperatures over there. And we also have those marine warnings here. We have some small craft and gale warnings here, and some more gale warnings and small craft advisories here on the eastern coastline. And never mind that. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at our current SPC Outlook here. This is moving into severe weather. So as you can see, this is day 1 today. We have a very small risk of some scattered thunderstorms in portions of Massachusetts area. Near Cape Cod over there, you have the potential of seeing some thunderstorms there. Some very scattered, non-severe thunderstorms, but a few pop-up storms cannot be ruled out there. Although they should be moving out by afternoon time there. Although we have our main severe weather threat, which is in what looks to be Kansas and Nebraska. You currently have a marginal risk right here. And then within that marginal risk, we also have a slight risk for severe weather. And that slight risk is pretty interesting, and I'll get into that in just a minute. And we also have another marginal risk for these regions right here. So pretty low threat there, but still there is a threat for some marginal severe. And then we also have another very small area to watch for some severe weather in Louisiana here. And this is in the areas that were impacted by major Hurricane Ida. That impacted the area, and that could be pretty bad if there is some severe weather there, because that could just make the entire situation worse there. So hopefully there isn't anything too severe in that area. So now let's move on to our tornado probabilities. So as you can see, we have a 2% chance right here in this dark green region, and then a 5% chance right here in this central area. So in that 5% area is where we're going to be seeing The highest threat for tornadoes today, I would actually say in the very center of that, 5% of that is going to be the area that you really have to be watching out for some of those isolated tornadoes there. So now if we move over to our hail probabilities, you can see we have a 15% chance of some hail within this region right here, this yellow area right here, with the highest threat most likely being near the center right there. And then we have that marginal 5% surrounding the slight 15% area. So decent chances for hail. And finally, if we move on to our wind threat today, you could see that our wind threat basically extends for all the areas within our severe weather threat. We have that marginal for wind, which is a 5%. Then we have the slight, which is 15% for winds. Then we have that other marginal 5% over here. And then we still have that 5% chance of some severe winds over 60 miles per hour within Louisiana. So that's where you also got to be watching out for some of that thunderstorm winds. Now, hopefully we don't see any strong storms over there, as that would make the damages worse, as I was saying earlier. But yeah, it doesn't look like anything's going to be too strong. It's only a marginal risk. So now if we take a look at the Weather Prediction Center, we're first going to take a look at the excessive rainfall outlook. So over here you can see we have that marginal risk still actually for the remnants of Ida here. And this marginal risk means that it's a pretty low chance, but a few isolated flash floods are possible within that region. So you still got to watch out, as Ida is still producing flooding in the United States. And there actually is, I believe, a flash flood warning still in effect. If I actually take a look at my radar right here, there is a flash flood warning in effect just because there is some lingering floods. Now, there isn't any rainfall right now. It all moved out with just some looks to be light rain possibly in this area here. But other than that, it's just about gone, the remnants. Most of it being offshore, except Maine could be getting something. Just some moderate-ish rain here. So they might get a flood advisory, something for that. But other than that, the flood threat is mostly over. Although you still got to watch out if you're in that flash flood warning, or if you're along the rivers, because there's a lot of river flood alerts. And this one actually is damage threat considerable and gauge indicated. So considerable threat for some flash flooding there. But heading back to our day one outlook, you can see we also have a huge marginal risk that extends all the way from actually Canada down south into the Kansas, almost Oklahoma area there. And then we have that our only slight risk of the day within that area right there. So that is our main threat for some flash flooding. We're most likely going to be seeing some flash flood warnings in that area. I'm not expecting a flash flood outbreak or anything like we had yesterday in portions of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, Connecticut. I know that was pretty bad because that was not too far away from me there. And there was a lot of flash flood emergencies and even a tornado emergency in New Jersey there. So pretty big tornado threat actually happened yesterday. But yeah, other than that, not much going on. A few marginal risks in effect for portions of Texas, New Mexico, very isolated marginals in Arizona. And we also have a marginal risk in Louisiana here. This is not good because this is also saying that those thunderstorms moving through the area have a chance of causing some flooding. So they're not going to be the fastest storms you can get. They're going to either be slower, a little bit slower of thunderstorms, or it's just going to be storms that dump a lot of rainfall down in one area. So that area is something to watch for some of that excessive rainfall there. And I actually would like to go back to the National Weather Service, and I would actually like to take a look at some of the flood alerts currently in the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, and just about the entire Northeast. So if you take a look at the New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York area here, you can see we have a lot of flood warnings, and I believe this is for river flood. It's this huge chunk of flood warnings, which actually goes into New York and Connecticut there. So lots of flood warnings there. We have a few rip current statement and beach hazard statements along the shoreline here. And then we even have some what looks to be flash flood watches for northern Burlington County. Looks like, I'm not sure what all these counties are, but there are some counties there that are under a flash flood watch still, I believe. And then we have some coastal flood statements. I believe this is Ocean County, and I'm not sure what county that is, but the southernmost part of Delaware, that is a county that you are seeing the potential for coastal floods. Now, if we go to central Pennsylvania here, we have a whole lot of these flood advisories and flood warnings, like river flood alerts here. For this area, it's basically saying that these rivers are going to be flooding a little bit. And this is actually a good map here on the weather story. It is showing that there is some areas getting a major river flood, like right here in central Pennsylvania, not too far from State College. We're going to be seeing major flooding in those rivers, and a lot on the eastern Pennsylvania and New Jersey border over here. There's going to be a lot of flooding threats there. So that is the main area. You're going to be watching out for some coastal and river floods. I would say New Jersey and Pennsylvania and maybe southern New York. Going back to this area, we have that flash flood warning here. We also have a whole bunch of flood warnings, or river flood warnings, in effect for Connecticut and Massachusetts area. You're also still getting rain. It's not all over yet. You still have the potential for some of that flooding to linger in the area and possibly even slightly increase, even though it's not raining. Or very little rainfall, at least. And then going into Maine, actually, we do have a flash flood watch and flood advisory in effect for this area here. So if you're in there, I definitely recommend that you be careful. As I did see on radar, and I did actually show everyone that there is some rainfall still occurring in Maine there. So watch out for some flooding there. So now let's actually switch to our tropics or tropical weather information here, as we've been spending a little too much time on everything else. And right after tropical weather, I will go back to the overall weather for today, tomorrow, and day 3. But currently in the world of tropics, we have an actual hurricane right here. This is right in the center of the main development region right here. It's right here, Larry. And if we actually take a look at those details, you can see right now it is a 65 knot or 75 mile per hour hurricane, category 1, minimum central pressure 987 millibars. It's currently moving to the west at 20 miles per hour or 17 knots, so not too fast, but also not too slow there. So currently the new forecast cone is calling for us to become a major hurricane somewhere between 2 p.m. Friday to, I would say, 2 p.m. Saturday-ish area. Probably early morning hours or late hours in Friday. So Friday to Saturday, it's going to become a major hurricane and potentially start moving towards Bermuda. So if you're in the Bermuda area, you need to be watching out for this. And also, if you're in the East Coast or the eastern United States, you also have to be watching out for this. I'm not saying it's going to impact your area if you're on the East Coast, but it's something to watch out for, as I know some storms that have started over here, it looked like they weren't going to impact the coast and have. So I definitely recommend if you're actually near Bermuda, you should be paying a lot of close attention to this. And maybe even on the East Coast, I recommend you follow the forecasts because they do change a lot. So now if we take a look at those wind speed probabilities, you can see pretty high over here, pretty high confidence in tropical storm force winds, although that confidence does die down due to it being further out. So there is those chances, and possibly we could be seeing some gusty winds here near the Western Antilles, Puerto Rico area. You might be getting some impacts from this if this does take a very southern turn. But I'm not saying you're going to get a direct hit. I'm just saying you should also be watching the forecast. And now if you also take a look at two other areas in the Atlantic here, we have this area to watch right here. Currently 20% chance of formation, but if you're in Mexico here, Central America, or even in the Gulf Coast, you got to pay attention to this, because this could become something. Not the highest chances yet, but something to watch. And then we also have post-tropical cyclone Ida, or the remnants of Ida here. And this actually is gaining strength. It is now a 40-mile-per-hour remnant low. And it actually does have tropical storm force winds sustained, and a minimum potential pressure of 998 millibars. So it is actually gaining strength. And you may be wondering, why isn't it a tropical storm? Well, the reason is it just doesn't have the exact same layout of a tropical storm. It has fronts. I was actually impacted by those fronts yesterday. It has cold fronts and warm fronts and stuff. And that, it just can't be a tropical storm. It is just a remnant low or area of, this is just a low pressure system. And here's our U.S. rainfall potential. There is still the possibility for some rainfall of 4 to 6 inches in some areas here. Maybe in Maine or maybe in Connecticut here, Rhode Island. You still have the potential for some heavy rainfall. Not much, but there is a chance of some of that heavy rainfall impacting those areas there. So definitely watch out if you're in any of these areas for some flash flooding, as that could mean that you might go under a flood advisory or potentially a flash flood warning. So now let's actually take a look at the current U.S. Actually, never mind. Let's actually go take a look at, this is the current satellite for Hurricane Larry here. And you can actually see it is getting a bit more organized now on satellite. And JV said, do you think Larry is going to become a powerful storm? I actually think it will become a powerful storm, just judging by the models and stuff. It looks like it could become a Category 3 or potentially Category 4 hurricane. And that is definitely pretty strong, although it most likely won't impact many areas, if it even does at all. It may impact Bermuda or potentially the East Coast, but I don't know about any landfalls or anything like that at the moment, as it's pretty far out, and there's a lot of unpredictability of where it's going to go. And it does look like we actually might have an eye forming right there, potentially. So it might be trying to reform an eye. It did actually have an eye at one point as a tropical storm somehow. But yeah, lots of convection firing up in some of these areas. These whites and purples there. That's a lot of convection. And then we have that organization and that spinning motion there. So it is looking good, and most likely will form an eye pretty soon. So now if we take a look at the current models and the model guidance here for this storm, it looks like just about every single one is showing it intensify except like one model. So every single model is showing it reaching about a Category 2 actually here. And a lot of them still saying Category 3. Some of them may be getting into Cat 4, or even one model getting to Cat 5 here. So there is the potential for it to become Category 5 according to the COTI model here. So it is something to watch, because the conditions are right for it to get pretty strong, although I don't know about landfalls. Landfalls looks a little bit unlikely. So here's the GFS model guidance here. GEFS, I mean. As you can see, it actually does show it getting pretty strong as it enters the Atlantic. But it's not going to impact lands anytime soon, if anyone is wondering that. So I would not be too worried about this impacting lands. Maybe Bermuda, but other than Bermuda, not really anywhere that has to really watch out at the moment. But it does look like a few models on the GEPS here are showing it impacting the East Coast, and that's really all it takes. Like this far out, that's really all it takes is a few models for it to head that direction. Now, I'm not saying it's going to head that direction, but I'm saying there is the potential for it to impact the eastern coast of the U.S. Like, I would say if there was a cone, I would put it like this. a cone of where it could go. And then here's the global hurricane model. So just about all of there actually is a lot of agreement in the models here. It's mostly going to be bringing it in this direction, and this actually does take that. Actually, does look like a hurricane cone a little bit. It looks like this is like one of the only models showing it impacting the eastern coast. If it did take that more western turn, that could be a sign that it's going to impact the eastern coastline or possibly Bermuda. But if it doesn't take that eastern turn, like all the models are suggesting, then it may just stay a fish storm and not impact land at all, really. So that's actually what I'm hoping for. It's to not impact land at all. And bring maybe some rainfall to Bermuda, but nothing significant. And if we take a look at Ida here, Ida is not looking good for. I mean, it is looking pretty decent for strength-wise. Not much on satellite for Ida. It has moved offshore, although it is now a 40-mile-per-hour post-tropical cyclone. So it is still packing some winds, for sure, and a lot of marine impacts are possible, although I wouldn't say anything too significant. Maybe actually some impacts to Canada. That's the only thing I'm thinking. Maybe the Nova Scotia area. You may be getting some storms if you're in that area. Maybe there's gusty, sustained winds up to 40 mile per hour, gusts possibly getting 50, 55, maybe even 60 there. So that is an area to watch out for some strong winds and some heavy rainfall there. Mostly Canada and very eastern Maine. That's the area to watch out for. And if we take a look at the model guidance here, it is showing the tropical storm force winds will increase a little bit and then decrease back into tropical depression force. Although a few models do bring it stronger, possibly into tropical storm, and one of them bring into Category 2 force winds. That doesn't mean it's going to become a Category 2, it just means it has those strong winds up to Category 2 force. And it is pretty unlikely that it's even going to hit that, so I would say maybe mid-range category or tropical storm force winds at max. If we actually take a look at this model here, it does show that this one is going to go straight through Canada and bring a very heavy rainfall right there, though, for Canada. So if you're in Canada, you should be preparing if you're in the Nova Scotia area for some flash flooding. But that's really the only thing to really watch out for. If we take a look at the tropical Atlantic, this is currently that hurricane right there, Hurricane Larry. And it looks like Larry is going to get pretty strong according to the GFS model. And if we actually take a look at this again, so it does actually, the GFS is showing it making that northern turn and actually likely not even impacting Bermuda, except with some marine conditions. Let's actually take a look at it. Let's just zoom out a bit. North Atlantic here. So here is Larry. And it actually does show it impacting Canada a little bit. And possibly Europe with some rainfall or something there. But it doesn't look like Larry is going to be too strong. So I wouldn't worry about Larry too much. It's definitely not going to be your next big storm. Unless it does take that turn. So I will be posting more videos than I have been. Because I haven't been posting for a while. Don't expect videos every day because I will be heading back to school soon. But I'll try and get some videos out or every day or every few days at least. But yeah, it does look like it is going to make that northern turn, potentially impacting Canada, possibly Greenland, and then impacting Europe area. It's a pretty weak storm there. But then again, it still could make that turn eastern. If it makes that eastern turn early, or if you notice it's heading more south at some point, then it could make that eastern turn right there. It could be like this. It could be like this. It could make an eastern turn, or it could just make that turn northern. So it's definitely something to watch. Say like, whoops, not like that. I would say anywhere within this little circle is the area it could go. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope everyone enjoyed the video today and found it informative. But yeah, I am going to be wrapping up this video now, as I've mostly covered everything. Right before I do go, I would like to actually go over the next few days forecast here. What we could be seeing in the U.S. during the next few days. So this is currently happening right now. This is that low pressure system right there. This is Ida. And Ida right here is actually making a cold front extending like this, which brought a lot of tornadic storms yesterday, including a tornado emergency for New Jersey, and then a very strong tornado in the Philadelphia region. So it potentially could have been a tornado outbreak, but we'll see what they get when they go and survey the tornadoes. But we are going to be seeing that heavy rainfall moving to Maine, the New England area, and portions of Canada today. And then we also have that heavy rain and severe weather threat today right in here. And if we actually head to the next day here, the severe weather threat does actually intensify a little bit. Or should I say heavy rainfall threat, I mean. So that heavy rainfall threat does intensify slightly. Very nice job. Keep it up. Hope you follow up with the storm. Yeah. Thanks for the thanks for the comment. But as you can see right here, we actually still might be getting some rain tomorrow from Ida. So slight flash flood threat going into tomorrow, and then day 3 looking pretty good. Not much going on except a slight, probably a slight risk for some excessive rainfall in this region right here. Although other than that, it's going to be a very nice couple of days. So not much weather track during the next few days. So that's going to wrap up this video, and before I end it, I actually would like to give a shout out to my new Twitter account that I have created. This is called the Weather News Network on Twitter, and I actually set up a team of people who post and stuff on this. So we post about all the severe weather and tropical weather stuff on here, and it has pretty decent graphics. So I definitely recommend everyone goes and checks that out. I post a lot, and the link is in the description below if you want to check out that account. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream and found it useful. And have a nice day.